There we go. All right. Hello. Welcome back to another stream. We're doing some more speedrunning. Going back to Rivulet. I kind of lost motivation to speedrun this category, but my world record run is no longer a world record run, so I gotta fix that. Although there's going to be few differences. Although let me get this there we go. There's the splits. There's going to be some differences in the route. Instead of going up the wall to get to pebbles from above, we are going through underhang the moment we get to exterior. Which means that we're also going to be using a grapple worm. Let's actually just get started here. So a few differences there, which I'm not completely familiar with yet. I still have some practice to do. This first run is just going to be a practice attempt. I'll still time it just in case, I guess, but if I die, I'm not going to restart. I'll just keep going. I also want to spend this attempt to kind of talk about a few of my strategies and go a bit in depth into some of the things I've learned during this category. So that very first thing I did, jumping out of the water, it's easiest to do a swim boost right below the surface of the water. And then do another jump at the surface of the water and then press up to orient yourself correctly. And that's the most consistent way I've found to jump out of water with a decent amount of height. Especially in that beginning area. I don't even know if that's the best route to go for. But it's what I've gotten used to, so. That's the strategy that I'm using. That's not great. Okay, that sucks. You're supposed to grab 2 fruit there. So you can eat them in this shelter. But I messed up. There's a little bit of a problem when you're holding onto a food item. There's a little bit of a delay before you can pick up other items because it's checking if you want to eat the food first. So this is kind of the annoying part of the run because you just you have to go through that first area where there could be scavengers that just kill you, and then you need to karma cache for about 2 minutes just to get up to the karma level that you need to get through get into the gutter. But it is the best way to go about it. It would be a lot slower if we had to go out and get food every time, so I guess it's better than that, at least. Hello, welcome to the stream. Now, there's a bit of a... I'm not exactly sure which shelters are the best to take. Because the plan after karma caching is to go all the way to pebbles through underhang, right? So make it from here into chimney canopy, into exterior, and then taking the underhang route up to 5 pebbles. And that's definitely too far to do in a single cycle. It's just barely possible to get to the wall gate before it starts raining. At least that's what my best attempts are able to do. Normally you would have 2 fruit here to eat, but I'll need to eat an extra one actually. A little bit of slowdown. So you need to take a shelter at some point to have enough time to make it for pebbles before it starts raining. And I think the best shelter is actually the one right after the wall gate. There's actually no scavengers here yet, but I might see them in the next room. Another thing I've considered is staying in the shelter. It's actually the biggest difference between which shelters you stay in is actually creature spawns. These guys don't get in the way. Okay. So at the very start of a cycle, right, creatures are going to be pretty close to their dens, right? Because they just exited the den. and they don't have much time to wander around. So that wasn't the fastest split I've gotten, but I don't mind too much for this run. So let's say that I decided to stay in this shelter right here at the start of the gutter. That would mean that the creatures in the gutter would pretty much be right next to their dens. Oh great, thanks for that. And the creatures that are most important are the leaf lizards. They tend to get in your way. But if you get here later in the cycle, like if you come from the drainage shelter, they're more likely to wander elsewhere. Which is the problem that I had when I tried using the strategy where you stay in that shelter. Yeah, I just messed that up completely. That's why I don't like the plank. So I'll go for it again. No, I feel like I should go for that. I mess it up too much. It only saves like a few seconds. Even if you get the plank, it doesn't always end up well. You might go too high up or not high enough. But maybe I just won't go for that since I know that I don't need to do the plank. I wonder what the gutter tastes like. You can do some pole hops. Okay, if you don't mess it up, you can do some pole hops there. But another problem, once I get to the wall and I stay in that shelter, there's a DLL that likes to get in the way. And since it's the beginning of the cycle, they are usually in the same bad spot every time. So staying in another shelter would mostly be for moving that DLL out of the way. Because I have not figured out a good way to deal with it yet. Although maybe that'll just come with experience after doing this route a lot. There's another thing you can do here, which I might not be able to do actually. I don't know why I didn't grab onto that. Oh, hello there. Yeah, if you have a item, you can throw a boost across that gap without having to jump all the way up there. These centipedes aren't really a problem. Another option is to stay in the shelter up there if you go up in this room. But I don't like it. It's like too much of a detour to go all the way up there to take a shelter. While the shelter at the wall is like pretty much right where you're going to go anyway. So it's like already looking like it's about to start raining. We haven't even made it to the gate yet. You can see how close this is. If you try to avoid taking a shelter. It's also very convenient that these creatures are going to be running away, so I don't have to deal with the lizards that tend to be up here. You can also do a pole hop there. I'm sure this area could be optimized if you made better use of extended slides. It's easy there because that area is just completely flat. I'm pretty sure most of that time loss is from messing up plank over and over. So that's why I'd rather not go for it. But also, I think this is a good opportunity. Like, regardless of what these splits are, the route changes about now, instead of going up the wall. It pretty much tried to start raining the moment I got out of the gate, since like time doesn't pass when you're in a gate. But now this is where the route diverges from my previous strategy, because I believe this is actually a lot faster. We go down instead of up. I mean, it is a little bit slower in that you have to take a shelter. My strategy completely avoided taking a shelter completely. And so you got past pebbles. Anyway, here's our grapple worm friend. We'll be using for these rooms in Underhang. There's pretty much no creatures here. I don't know why I did that. No creatures here other than DLLs, which there's like one that gets in the way. And I guess other grapple worms. They don't seem to be affected by the rot. Really? Okay, I cut out. I still haven't gotten great at this movement. That was close. You definitely want to try to grab that pole sooner. How do I deal with this? Okay, we'll just go back. There's more to... This is why I'm doing a practice run. So I'm not yet great at this part. Yeah, I'm kind of used to Saint movement, where you get a little bit of a jump after letting go of the grapple worm. So I need to get used to, like, needing to build up momentum. That yellow tends to not really get in the way. There's definitely a faster way to do that if you really get familiar with the layout, because it's mostly off screen. But the next room is what I'm worried about now. There's this DLL right here. Although this actually looks like a good spot for it, because it's... I can mostly just get past it by doing that. So that's pretty good luck. Compared to... It likes to be like right here in that gap, where you just hope that you can get up into that pole. We want to eat this here. So I'm losing time right now, but I feel like that's mostly because I already lost time when getting to the wall, and I messed up a lot in the underhang. You saw that. Oh yeah, there's a better way to do that. I also found that you need to eat this fruit. You can eat this fruit and then a neuron. So even then, that was another 10 seconds for what felt like a lot longer than 10 seconds I messed up in the underhang. But I think it's actually from here to the rarefaction cell is a shorter distance than from the top of Pebbles. We'll see if that actually saves time too. And also, I don't know if dealing with that DLL is better than dealing with lizards, because if you go up the wall, there's plenty of white lizards that tend to get in the way. This is another little bit of RNG. Just don't go that way. Depending on the cycle of the gravity. So actually, that was a bad cycle, since I don't have the low gravity you need to get up there. Maybe it's possible, but I don't really want to risk being too slow with that DLL who likes to reach out its arms. Luckily, it doesn't really matter in these underwater sections whether the gravity's on or off. You definitely need to learn movement for all these rooms in low gravity and normal gravity, which is something I did eventually after enough runs from the old route, but I'll need to relearn all of that. So that was pretty good luck right now, or pretty good cycle, because you need low gravity for this part. Just kidding. I don't have a... That was kind of a bad cycle. I didn't have enough time low gravity there. Maybe it's still possible. No, that just perfectly lines you up with these things on the wall. If I could grab the... No, that's unfortunate. Well, stop the split. I wish there was a way to, like, put a check mark in the split. I don't even have enough karma now. I just have to restart completely. But I wish there was a way to put check marks on the splits. That if you messed up, you can just go back to the check. So like the check mark. That's the bookmark. That's what I had to say. But that would like count as a practice attempt, since that would obviously wouldn't be allowed for actual speedruns. That's what happens when you don't jump out of the water correctly. So there's a lot more to improve with the underhang. Like, I didn't even lose that much time for how many mistakes I made, so I think that shows that it can be better. And actually going through pebbles is dependent on how much I get used to the different gravity cycles. Although I feel like it's a little bit more restrictive, since there's a lot of rooms that you just can't get past at all unless it's low gravity. So as long as those sections line up, unless maybe they don't line up at all and there's like not really a good cycle you can get, you're just gonna have to wait sometimes. There's probably a spot where you could wait that would kind of line up the cycles. So that's more consistent. Although I don't want to like lab out the entirety of pebbles to figure that out. Just kind of go for it. Because like kind of no matter what I do, if it's a better routes, then I'll get a better time. And I'm pretty confident with the rest of the run outside of pebbles. But here we are, karma caching again. Also, another thing I just considered, sub 30 probably isn't actually possible, considering that the timer gets messed up when you karma cache. See, it just goes back to 126 when I restarted. So like the real time, or the in-game time, lags behind real time a lot. And it's only real time that can, or I keep messing up. It's only in-game time that can get below sub 30 possibly, so unless there's another like minute, like 2-minute time save, I don't really see it happening. I didn't even think that sub 30 would be possible until this new route was discovered, and that was like considering some of best runs with my previous route. I also forgot to get the pearl, but guess there's not going to be any scavengers here. That sucks. That actually really sucks. I don't have any food now, so I'll need to waste time eating some later, as well as snail slowing me down there. So that would have been good if I didn't get snailed, and I lose time here because I don't have the food. If I can find a centipede, that's probably the fastest way for me to get food. I don't see any centipedes here. There's one all the way over there. I guess I can save that time if I get a good plank. I like that eel lizard. There we go. That's pretty close to ideal, I'd say. So I think that kind of makes up for other time losses earlier. I don't usually get plank first try. It's that bull hop I was trying to do earlier. Something else that I've learned from running this category is that you should never try to throw away a bat fly that you pick up if you don't know what, or if you don't like have time to stop and check which hand it's on. Because I tend to try to throw it away, but I end up just throwing whatever other item I'm holding on to, even if I think I know which hand it's on. So you just like not bother. That's kind of unfortunate. I wanted that item. The throw boost here, but I guess I can't do it. Not too much slower to go up here instead. I guess it's good that I could deal with that leap lizard so quickly. That's annoying. It's kind of hard to cancel rolls, and it's pretty easy to start them accidentally. What is up with these creatures? None of them are really being that bad. I can mostly just run past them still, but little slows down here and there. I could have thrown boost. Done a lot more throw boosts if I had items. Yeah, I wanted to try to do a backflip there. Guess we're just gonna do that again. I don't even know if doing that full hop there is worth it, considering that you end up going a little bit too far. But I guess that was about better than last attempt. By about like 20 seconds. I also know that there's a way you can slide pounce out of a gate. Yeah, I'm not very good at it. You need to be familiar with the timing of a slide pounce so that you can do it as early as possible, or else you end up just hitting the slope and losing all the speed you build up. I'd like to look for an item here. There's a spear. So you can do that. So it's funny when you get that smooth pipe entrance, but it's really hard to line up. All right, let's see if we can not completely mess up this underhang. Maybe I shouldn't rely on the grapple worm as much. Just like in situations where I can just like not use it, just don't. Like you don't need the grapple worm in this room. You can just run through. This is where I really got stuck last time. Really? Okay, I don't think I'm dead. I might be dead. Okay. That sucks. I thought that strategy was consistent, actually. But that tentacle was really reaching out to grab me. That's unfortunate. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I just died. I guess that means you get to see the whole run now. instead of starting in the middle. So maybe I shouldn't jump as high there. But there's another problem there. If you actually jump too low, you end up grabbing onto the bottom platform, which doesn't give you enough height to continue on. But I guess that's kind of consistent. Like, I'd rather deal with a kind of annoying thing that gets in the way, but it's always in the same spot, rather than a lizard which might not be there, but also might be there and get in the way. So I'll have to get more familiar with underhang. Hello, welcome to the stream. Doing some speedrunning. Just about finished karma caching here. Oh, that's the mod you're making, right? Where you can restart a run without having to go back to the menu. I don't like this. I always forget now to grab the pearl in my stomach every time. Because you can give it to the scavengers and make it slightly easier to run past them. I don't like this. Okay. I used to be a lot better at a strategy here for some reason, where you can do like store a slide, or no, not a slide, a turnaround. And you can do a backflip at the top of the pole to get up a little bit faster. But that was probably, oh, that's probably better. I'm probably not even, I mean, even if that mod was verified, I probably wouldn't use it. I don't really like having too many mods on, especially for a speedrun, which is focusing more on like vanilla content. Even if the mod is just like a slight quality of life change. Spider tech. That was actually a very interesting plank. I barely got like too much speed at all, just enough to make it up to that hole, right? proceeded to fall off anyway. I don't like that lizard. Oh, it got a spider though. That's good. I don't like that lizard though. So the other leaf lizard went down. This one grabbed a spider and went up, and the white lizard was down there. So I think we're good for gutter. Yeah, a mod like that is kind of tricky since we base our timing off of how the of when like exactly the run starts, and we've decided that that's when the circle at the beginning fills up all the way. So if a mod wants to replicate that, it would need to work exactly the same way, or else times would be off to what they would be without the mod. And that's the main point. Like any mod that wants to be that people want to use for speedruns needs to pretty much change gameplay, or not change gameplay at all. So this input display in the bottom, like I'm not even looking at it half the time, and it doesn't affect the game at all. It just, you know, just like displays some information that I'd like. Okay, what is up with this? I somehow managed to sneak past those two. Remember when I said that it's nice that the lizards weren't out of the way? Well, here they all are. I still managed to get past that somehow. I do like having the input display though, in case anyone who watches these speedruns wants to know how I did some specific tech or movement. They can just look at the input display and figure it out themselves. So once again, the creatures are kind of getting in the way, but not really slowing things down too much. What was that? That was like a roll pounce, but I barely started the roll. So that kind of lost me at the time. Well, I don't know, none of these runs are really starting off very well. But I'd rather not restart over and over again just to save like 10 seconds at the beginning. And I could be restarting so much that it would lose like multiple, like I have to spend multiple minutes on every attempt. Just to save like 10 seconds from the final run. And these are mostly still just practice runs. I mean, I'm still going for the full speed run. But I'm not going to restart over the smallest time loss. Not yet. Because it still very much depends on how well I do in this next section, which is where the route changes from my last attempts. And honestly, the only reason that I'm doing this run again, because we have a completely different route that goes through Underhang right here using a grapple worm. So I'll try to stay a little bit lower time. Whoa. Something important to note about grapple worms is that you immediately go into a crouching state the moment you use them. Mid-air, so you kind of like... You aren't standing upright once you land on the ground again. Yeah, I like this room the most. It's not really grappling around, you're just kind of doing some normal movement. Sit down here, I guess. I almost touched that. Okay, that's good. The DLL's down there. That's really lucky. And now we don't need the grapple worm anymore. It can actually be a little bit dangerous to drop a grapple worm, because they can grab onto you and you'll lose a bit of time. Wish the in-game timer actually worked. Well, it works for the most part. There's some issues with okay, that sucks. I messed up both the moves I tried to do there. I mean, as long as the in-game timer is wrong consistently, then I still think it's an improvement. Then we're having to use external tools. Like, it's not correct when you're karma caching, but if everyone karma caches, then it doesn't really matter, since everyone's going to be comparing times on equal ground still. So after losing 13 seconds before the wall, I guess I should call it underhang now, since I'm not actually going through the wall. This is a good cycle, because you want low gravity here. Excuse me. Okay, I'm no longer going through that route. I think that's telling me, hey, don't actually take that. I did not know the DLL could reach in there. Wow. I'm gonna stay here just to practice this area, because I'm not very good at underhang yet. Ow. I don't even know if using the grapple worm is faster in most situations. Like, obviously there's areas where Rivulet can't get to without a grapple worm, and that's why we use them at all. But maybe there's areas where it's better to avoid using it. This is where I died last time. Well, I guess the time before last time. That's where I messed up last time. There's this really annoying thing where, since you get set into the crouching state, you want to press up to stand upwards, stand upright. But if you hold up, then you end up accidentally grabbing onto... You end up grabbing onto poles. You need to let go of to continue walking. Glad they didn't hear me. So far that DLL hasn't really gotten in the way at all. I guess I don't need to continue. Well, I'll practice movement in the last room before the gate. Here, because it kind of depends on like what order you do slides and such. That's what I've been trying to do this whole time. There we go. Maybe I will do a full run with no mistakes. Also note that sometimes the splits are going to look like I'm losing time here or gaining time here. It's not like completely accurate yet, because it depends on I'm comparing with my previous run, which used different strategies. So maybe getting to pebbles takes longer, but actually going through pebbles is a lot faster. That's annoying. So how that was... Oh, I mean, of course it wasn't that fast because of the getting out of the water at the start. There is another tunnel. In the room that I died in? Which room is that? While I'm karma catching here, I'm gonna check the map to see what you're talking about. The middle tunnel in the room? I'm still not exactly sure what that means. Oh, the in Pebbles. Okay, I knew that there's a middle route there. I didn't want to take it since there's a little bit of a jump that you need to do. And it's kind of hard in normal gravity to make that jump since you can't exactly see where the pipe ends. Because it's covered by the foreground, right? So... yeah, I will take that route next time. Since, I guess the DLO will make the other route, or the other tunnel more difficult. Both the snails and the scavengers in this area are always annoying. This won't be very fast, because I messed up at the beginning. It was good otherwise. Yeah, I'm also just a little bit out of practice. Been a while since I've practiced a lot of these runs. Yeah, I was just about to comment on how the snails can sometimes get in the way, but I guess I don't need to since just saw I had to I couldn't do the backflip there that I usually do because the snail was right in that spot. If I was touching it for too long, then it would just pop and I might have fallen down the other side. Can I get the plank? That's pretty much the ideal scenario. This isn't, though. Oh, no. If this lizard went through the pipe, that would have been good. But now it's in this area. doesn't seem to care. But now it does. But there's the other one. They're not usually very good at catching up with you when you're climbing on poles. For whatever reason, they stop jumping and decide to just climb normally. It gives you a little bit of time to run away. They probably got distracted by a spider or something. Ideally, of course, you don't see the lizards at all. But you can never just hope for the best scenario every time. Maybe if I do want to get sub 30, I will really have to wait until I get perfect RNG with creatures. I don't like this guy. There's a throw boost I was talking about. I actually bumped into that blue lizard. Although it didn't really slow me down too much. Why do I mess that up? Almost save time from for this split. I guess because the creatures weren't really in the way as much. Here's where I will proceed to make several mistakes again. Or not, hopefully not, I guess. It's raining. Is that a Rain World reference? That's annoying. Oh, come on. I'm not really doing those extended slides very well. Although this... Oh, okay. Guess that can happen. But the grub was in a better spot than last time. I had to go down and grab it. I guess you don't really need to jump up that high. Just get to that. Sometimes I turn around in that tunnel somehow. Hopefully it's not possible to swing up into those things in the wall. But the DLL is not in a good spot. Is it? It really has to be right there. Wow, that's unfortunate. I really didn't want to just try to... I didn't know what to do there, honestly. I feel like he was covering all the routes I could have taken. I guess I could have tried to make some noise to move it out of the way. Yeah, that DLL. I mean, that's probably the first time I've gotten the weight this stream, but it's been a much bigger problem than when I sleep over and over again for 2 minutes straight. Sometimes there's actually a little bit of RNG here where you and the scavenger land in the water. Ideally, you're a little bit further down and to the left of the scavenger, but not too far down. Not too high up either. And hopefully not stuck on the scavenger. Someone wants to make a mod where grapple worms have the same movement abilities as the Saint. Like if you go and try to verify it for speedruns. I have a ton of lag. I hope it's not me. Yeah, I think it's me. Yeah, the stream is just lagging, unfortunately. But if it continues to be a problem, then maybe you can restart or refresh the browser. But it's not like you're gonna miss anything in this area. The run really starts like 4 minutes in. It almost got in the way. Oh, split. I know, I'm 22 seconds behind. I am actually still pretty far behind. It wasn't the greatest start. That's not great. I have to do that. We're just gonna restart that. That was unfortunate. I just barely clipped the side of that platform. And I got stunned, so I couldn't grab onto poles. I kind of don't. I think that I might just not plank. Might just skip that. Because I'm usually messing it up first try anyway. If I do get the flank, then there's a risk that I just like hit a wall and stun myself. So I lose time anyway. Hopefully this goes better. I did lose a bit of time because I was checking if the stream was lagging too much. If it does, I don't think I'll be able to submit this. Because the stream lagging for a bit also kind of looks like splicing the run. Like, oh, the video cuts out for 10 seconds right here. I could have done anything in that time. You wouldn't be able to see it. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Sleeping Simulator. Where I sleep for 2 minutes to go through a door. I also need to remember to grab the pearl. There has been at least a few situations where I've given the scavengers the pearl when they were about to throw a spear, and then they decide not to throw the spear, so I think it does help. But even in those situations, the scavengers are gonna slow you down, so ideally, of course, they just don't show up at all. But it doesn't really cost you any time to take out the pearl anyway, so... I would like to think that holding a pearl makes them less likely to attack you. Because, like, you could give it to them. But, of course, that doesn't really make any sense, because if they kill you, they're still gonna get the pearl. So, if anything, if they have bad reputation already, that just, like, is more encouragement. You always got a pearl, you better go steal it from them. Here's the scavengers. Not too bad, honestly. It could have been a lot worse. They only threw, like, one rock. And there's only 2 scavengers anyway. That could have been a lot worse, too. Surprised they didn't pop earlier. So without that snail and scavenger getting in the way, that probably would have been perfect, but the 350 time that I got here was like already a bit unrealistic. I think that I also might have skipped getting food at all, so any run that I do where I get food is going to be a little bit slower than that. I don't really mind getting like perfect times in these first few areas. I don't like you. I don't think the solution to deal with the scavengers is just to throw something at them. I'd like to avoid that. You know, I said that I'm gonna not plank, so let's just go up normally. There's always a chance like, oh, if I did plank, then I could save like 5 seconds, but there's also a chance that you just don't. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, what is this? I'm dead. I'm still dead anyway. I got released, but I'm... Well, I mean, they slowed me down a lot anyway. I think ideally there, I would have done a wall pounce and then go up so quickly that I would just pass the spider, but the green ones are really annoying to deal with. You can't throw a spear at them, or else you just die anyway. But it would have been nice to go through the pipe and leave all those creatures behind. Although it's not like the spiders really get in the way in later rooms. But yeah, this is what it's like to speedrun this game. Unless maybe there's something that I haven't figured out yet. But I guess, in my experience, it's a lot of just dying in the first few minutes and restarting. Especially in like short categories like this. Like, it's not unreasonable to expect that you can get a perfect run without like many mistakes at all. So you kind of just keep restarting until you get that perfect run, because you know it's possible. If it was like 3 hours long, then you probably wouldn't restart, because I mean, if you lose 1 minute, like, that doesn't really matter compared to the 3 hours, right? Hubert the slug cat? What? Not a mod? Even Rivulet, I think, is a little too fast sometimes. So going even faster than that, I feel like it's just unwieldy and uncontrollable. I wouldn't mind if Rivulet was made a bit slower. I mean, I think most of their movement is fine, but the moment you do a backflip or a slide pounce, it seems a bit too extreme. Hubert can die from running into the walls. Yeah, that sounds too fast. Because Gourmand can also do that. If you slide, you move so quickly that you'll stun yourself when you hit walls. And that slide, I think, is too fast for its own good. So I gave them the pearl. I don't know if they would have thrown a spear otherwise. That guy looked like he wanted to throw a rock. Now this guy will be in the way, making the snails angry. So all that just kind of slows me down a bit. What can you do? I still haven't figured out how to do that, honestly. I figured out one way that you could do it pretty fast, but every time I try to do it, it doesn't work. I should have made the title like, can I actually complete a run? That's what we're wondering. I'm gonna have to get food somewhere. I thought I had more. I thought I was holding on to another fruit. Yeah, now I'm messing up a lot. Everything else was going really well. I mean, like, I wasn't really doing much. I'll go for the plunk. You see, if I'm behind now, then going for the plunk is worth the risk. Got a sub 30 yet? No. I haven't even gotten past like pebbles yet. Right, I haven't gotten to the rare faction cell yet. Okay, what kind of plank was that? I guess it counts. That's the slowest plank I've ever seen. I guess here's the food that I need to get. That's a... Dude, just go for the spider. You're right there. It's not even... Well, okay, I did that to the rot once, but it's mostly been everything before that, honestly. These lizards tend to get in the way, and especially underhang. If you've seen the new route, have you seen the new route? I don't know if you've been... How much of this have you been watching? But instead of going up the wall and entering pebbles from above, the moment we get to exterior, we go down into underhang, and then we go up through pebbles to the refraction cell and then back down, which is where it just becomes the same as the old route. Nice backflip. Hello? I think you were there for a bit, right? But I'm getting, getting a little bit of practice in underhangs, so eventually it won't be that bad. Although sometimes the DLL can just get in the way and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. I mean, they should be running away from the rain. Thank you. Guess that works. I kind of risked that. I didn't know it would work out. But yeah, still losing time here. Although not really, kind of a lot more. Just a little bit hungry, you know. Need to get the food quest done. What did it cost? Everything. Oh no, oh, there's a rock. It's probably worth it to do an extended slide there. Grab onto the other grapple worm. There's probably people who actually practice with grapple worms a lot, who would be a lot faster in this section. You see there, I accidentally used the grapple worm there and it made me crouch, so I couldn't do a backflip. How's our RNG looking? Awful. Literally the worst possible scenario. I risked it. That still lost a lot of time. Let's eat this rock. So that DLL there is probably the worst part of this route. It might just be in the worst possible spot, like you saw right there. Don't wall bounce there. So I guess this is where we can make a comparison here. I got to Pebbles a little bit slower, but I actually did save time compared to the wall split. Since not only did I have to stay in the shelter, but I messed up and had to wait for the like slightly unoptimal movement, and I had to wait for the DLO, and I was still like 6 seconds faster. But we'll see if I can actually make it through Pebbles, which is I've yet to do. And we'll see if this is truly a faster route. Also considering that I am going to do unoptimal movement here. Good timing for the zero gravity. If you weren't here last time, I took a tunnel on the other side. The tunnel that's further to the left, and I died to the DLO because he was reaching out a tentacle there. Because they can do that for some reason. Something else to consider in this area is that you need to eat, or at least I like to eat 1 neuron here, so that later when you're going through shaded. Hello? You have an easier time going through the spiders. I guess this is a good time to wait. There are proto DLLs on the wall there that you have to watch out for. No, don't wall bounce there. It's kind of nice when it's low gravity during an underwater section because it doesn't mess with your movement at all. Here it does though. I'm sure if I had more practice, I could figure out how to do that in 0G consistently. But I have yet to do that. And this. Oh, don't grab onto that guy. Uh-oh. This is not good. There's a better way to do that. I could actually grab onto that. It helped out. "15 seconds faster." Well, I'd say this might be faster. A faster route. I didn't want to go down here. Despite the fact that I haven't practiced this much and that I've had bad RNG and maybe a bad cycle. Still like 15 seconds ahead. After being, so this is 30 seconds faster than my previous run. After being, so if you like ignore me being slower at the wall. And it is at this point where the run becomes the same as my old strategy. But I don't know if 15 seconds is enough to get sub 30. Maybe if I did the rest of the run perfectly, but I kind of have doubts. Like I was relying on getting a lot bigger of a time save in this split, and it would have been 30 seconds, and even better if I knew what I was doing. I'll be honest, I don't even know if you need to stay in the shelter, but it's not really out of the way at all, so I don't mind it. And it also gives you enough time to get to submerged superstructure in the rest of the cycle. So let's see, can I actually make it to the end here? And even if I do, I doubt that I have doubts that I'll actually be able to get sub 30. And I did not do that as well as I've done before. Funny thing, that blue fruit that's usually there, it used to get in my way a lot, but now since you eat it earlier in the run, it actually is no longer there. Although there's movement that you could do that would just avoid the fruit completely. Doesn't matter too much. So activating this early is actually a little bit risky since the DLL could technically be right in front of the tunnel, in case you would just lose time. Oh. That was just me not knowing how to play the game. That sucks. If you do if you make use of coyote time and you do the smallest jump possible, you can do that without getting grabbed by the proto long legs. I guess that was still a good practice for the underhang route. That's pretty much perfect. Except for kind of messing up entering the pipes at the end, but now we sleep again. Honestly, I don't even know I don't even think this route is like too much better. It's probably faster, but I've been able to, with the other route where you go over the wall, up the wall, enter from the top of pebbles, I've actually been able to optimize that a lot. Especially since you can skip taking 2 shelters compared to this route. So you don't actually take a shelter at all until the very end of pebbles. But for this route, you have to. Well, I think you only have to shelter 1 extra time. So I take the shelter right when entering the wall, right? And then it's the same route going up the pebbles, and then you have to sleep there. So it only saves 1 extra shelter. But also, you know, saving a shelter means I don't have to eat as much food. But also, going up the wall feels a lot more RNG dependent, depending on the lizards there. As well as the part where you get pushed down by the rain can be really annoying. I feel like maybe if you optimize that route as much as possible, it would possibly compare with this route. But consider that I've already been able to get a 15-second time save after losing 15 seconds earlier, especially on a route that I haven't practiced too much. You know, maybe this one is like just like completely better no matter what. So finally actually starting or getting to chimney in a decent amount of time. Then to be jump scare. I might spend a bit of time just focusing on the run, so I might talk less. Low centipede. Usually don't see a centipede there. Come on. Remember when I said that I was going to skip during the plank? Yeah, this is why. There we go. So that sucks, but what? I don't know. I'm still just not consistent at that. I remember when I first saw that you could do a plank there, I went and like practiced it and got it a few times, and I'm like, well, if I'm able to get it a few times now, I should be able to practice and get it more consistent, but I feel like it's still like a 50-50. And even if you actually get the plank, you need to line it up correctly and then grab onto the correct pole, which depends on how fast you're going and at what angle you're going. Because there's an angle where you actually miss every pole like completely. If you try to grab the poles at the top of the room. And sometimes there's situations where you're actually moving so fast that you grab onto a pole but then slip off of it. And like all of that is after going for like what feels like a frame perfect, not even not frame perfect, but like quite precise movement. I don't like that guy. I mean, you probably shouldn't be able to catch up. Okay, I don't know why that happens sometimes. I think there still won't really be that much of an improvement. So the plank. I was lucky. I mean, even then, they wouldn't really have gone the way they're panicking. Yep, still lost a lot of time. Everything else was perfect except the plank. Really debating just like not doing it at all. Just like don't bother with it. And it's like it's time saves like those 13 seconds that I feel like are kind of necessary if you want to go for sub 30. I remember checking some of best times, which is what happens if you compare the best possible time you've gotten for every split. If you got a run where you made all of those perfect splits, what would be like the best possible? Or what would be the time if you got all the best possible? It's basically a look at what the best run for your skill level would be based on your previous attempts. And I calculated it before I learned about this route, and it was like just above 30 minutes. I was like, okay, so you need to play perfectly to get not even sub 30. Or at least I would need to play perfectly. But then I saw this new route and thought that it could actually save a lot of time. Because the run where I saw this new strategy, it wasn't actually faster than my best time. But during this part of the run specifically, it was still faster by quite a bit. So I was like, okay, that's the thing that we're gonna need to do to get sub 30. But even then, it's probably still just barely, right? So maybe this 13 seconds that I lost before even getting to the wall, maybe that's like gonna prevent me from getting. That's good. Okay, this is a lot better than last round. Hello, welcome to the stream. We're actually in the middle of a pretty good run. Why do I always pick up a rock here? I mean, I did already lose 13 seconds, but this is a lot faster than the previous time I went through this area. Because that DLL in the previous room, it was like right in front of the pipe. Like perfectly in the way, so. Now it wasn't in the way, so this should be better, just by default. You can't do an extended slide there. That wasn't even faster than the last attempt. What the heck? Even though the DLL wasn't even in the way, I only saved 12 seconds here instead of 15. That's strange. I don't really feel like I made any other major mistakes. Oh shoot, eat this fruit. Okay, there's another time loss. I think is that the name Slugcat was literally just made by some random person that commented on a YouTube video. And the developers were like, hey, that's kind of a cute name. So that they're not even like originally designed to be a slug cat. They're just kind of a creature, and someone thought that they looked like a slug cat. Here's me not knowing how to do these rooms in zero gravity. And this room. Hello? Okay, I guess that was better than last time. That's never gonna work out. I don't know if this is a bad cycle or if I'm just bad at zero-G movement. I feel like I've gotten stuck in every single one of those rooms. Oh, this isn't good. Hello? I just got sent backwards by trying to move forward. And 30-second time save. Like, where'd that come from? Like, I slowly drift through every single room. "30-second time save. I guess this is where the route really shines. Just getting to pebbles is faster, or getting to the cell is faster. You actually just don't see pebbles at all. That's the thing with speedruns. You never really feel like, never really have an accurate feel of how well you're actually doing until you just look at the time. That's why we have splits set up. There's no way to be like, oh yeah, this is a good run, or this is a bad run. I mean, it's obvious when you like make a big mistake. But if you make a bunch of little mistakes, you might not notice it in the moment, and those all add up. Okay, don't do that. I don't know, maybe 30 seconds is all I need to get the sub-30. There is another major time save I could make compared to my previous run that I think these splits might be based on. I know some people have splits or live split set up so that it shows you, like, if you didn't make any mistakes from this point on, what's the best possible time you could get. I don't know how to set that up. What if you prop on this curse then? Alright, so I made a really obvious mistake last time. So let's not do that. A few of these mistakes have been me trying to do a slightly faster strategy, but being unfamiliar with it. Because there's the strategies that I've been doing this whole time and that I've gotten used to. And then there's strategies that might be a little bit faster, but I've never tried them before, so I think, oh, this time I'm gonna do those new faster strategies, and then I end up making a mistake because I've never done it before. Which is why you should probably try to just learn the best strategies from the start. Of course, I couldn't do that because I've also been speedrunning this from the start. So I've also been figuring out the strategies as I go. Then to grab onto that pole. Always likes to lag around here. There you go. That's the jump that you're supposed to do. I hate this. If you walk a little bit too fast there, you end up just falling off the cliff, so I always try to take that really safely. This is good luck if I don't fall right into it. That DLO can get in the way. I don't like this. Okay. This is the furthest I've gone. Ow. I usually grab onto the pole below this one, but I messed up the timing. Here's some more RNG. Where are the DLOs? That's a decent spot. It's also a decent spot. That's also a good spot. Okay. Good luck here. I don't like that. Ow. What? Somehow the refraction cell went all the way up there into that little thing in the wall. That sucks. Ah, there goes all my time saved. This is definitely not a sub-30. I don't really know what to do there to avoid fall damage, because my strategy is usually just to hug the wall. But I know that there's probably a better way to do that, where you fall and like directly onto one of those vertical poles, but I don't know where they are. I should probably just learn those locations. Well, now it's over. So it doesn't matter anyway. Welcome to speedrunning. I knew that that's the thing that could happen, jumping into those. But I just kind of hoped I didn't. I did delay my slide pounce a little bit, so I could have saved it. I mean, I was already kind of lost motivation for that run because all those other mistakes. But I know that there's a solid like 45 seconds to save compared to my previous run. If I don't mess up the wall split, and I don't mess up everything, if I'm perfect, it'll be better. What a surprise! The first ancient to die must have been hella confused. Okay, so some changes to this run. I will not make any mistakes. Hopefully. I'm also just going to skip the plank. I'm not going to do it. It saves some time, but I always mess it up and I tend to bonk into stuff and get stunned. And I think it's that reason that I've pretty much always been losing time on the wall split. Fond memories of being stabbed by scavengers here too many times, honestly. I'd say like 30% of runs die to scavengers in the very beginning. And like 60% of runs just have scavengers that just get in the way. Even if they don't kill you, they slow you down. Whenever you're live streaming speedrun attempts. So it's a trade-off between actually focusing on the speedrun and focusing on the stream. I mean, the chat hasn't been too active, so I guess there's not too much like focusing on the chat. Please don't. But there's also just like talking constantly. Trying to be more interesting and entertaining for the sake of the stream. But that always kind of comes at a cost of playing the game worse. That's a lot what happened when I was playing Pizza Tower. I didn't play very well because I was looking at the chat and talking about stuff a lot, so I wasn't actually paying attention. And that game is so fast that if you're not constantly looking at what's coming up next, you're probably going to make a mistake. You're not going to be prepared. And it's kind of same with Rain World. It's not as fast, but there's a lot of little things that you have to take into account. You didn't get the notification. YouTube does that sometimes. I don't like this guy. Oh, okay. They don't like me either. I was literally just about to throw the spear, so that was just RNG. If I didn't get insta-killed, I would have thrown the spear and escaped, but I was. I'm going to be playing Pizza Tower more in the future if you want to try to catch those streams. I mean, also I was streaming on a day that I don't usually stream on. Is that not allowed? For the time? Oh, it doesn't matter too much. I was playing Grand World with this mod that just deletes, well, it removes all the creatures from the game, specifically creatures that spawn from a den. So there's some creatures that are just kind of part of the environment that aren't affected. But all creatures that spawn from a den are removed. And I did some speedruns of this category. And it's so much easier. I mean, all the situations where creatures could get in the way, they're just gone. That doesn't happen anymore. And part of me kind of wishes that that's just how these speedruns were, you know? Just movement. That's honestly why I like speedrunning, because the movement's really good. And it's a very unique movement system that I haven't seen in any other game. As well as a massive world that lets itself well to like exploring it, you know. So when you take a unique and like very high quality movement system as well as a very large and expansive world that you can traverse, I think that makes for what you would think would be a good speedrun experience. But then the creatures are here that could just be in random locations with random behavior. They might be more or less aggressive. They might kill you instantly. You know, all sorts of stuff could happen. And it's really good for the sake of the game, not for speedruns. The creatures are really what makes this game special, but it's also what makes speedruns so much worse and annoying to play. Because you're always just going to be hoping for the ideal run where creatures just don't get in the way at all. And sometimes that's just unrealistic. Like there's so many creatures in one area that there's no hope that you'll get through it without seeing a single one. It's an anti-speedrun game, yeah, kind of. Because there's a lot of other games that people actually enjoy speedrunning. Well, I can't speak for everyone about Rain World. But there's other games that are much better for speedrunning, that are always consistent, always the same thing. Like everything happens the same way every time. And for those speedruns, it's just about improving at the game and just learning the same strategies and getting consistent at them, right? You can try to do that in Rain World. You can try to like get good at the movement and learn all the different strategies for how to navigate all the rooms you'll be going through. But at the end of the day, the quality of your run is still going to depend on if creatures get in your way. Which is why I actually enjoyed playing with that mod so much. Gave me a chance to just focus on the movement. See how good of a run can I get if there's just like no RNG essentially. And of course, I don't think that should actually be allowed for speedruns. The creatures and like the ecosystem, that's all like a very important part of the game. And that's just saying no, that's not important for speedruns. We're just gonna ignore that entire part of the game. But I think I would prefer it for the sake of actually doing a run. Maybe there's other runners who are better at dealing with random creatures than me, and I just need to figure it out. Or maybe I'm just going for being too much of a perfect I'm putting myself up to standards that are way too high. Like I want to get a run that has this time, but the only way to get that run is to hope that you never get slowed down by creatures at all. So maybe that really isn't an impossible thing to do. But since like theoretically it's possible, I still go for it. if you're just speedrunning the game casually, if a creature gets in the way, it doesn't matter. Just wait a bit. Wait for it to move out of the way, grab a spear or rock, throw at it. But when you're going for times like this, it's like, oh, well, that creature actually cost me like 10 seconds. And what if you need that 10 seconds to... I mean, in most speedrun games with someone optimized runs, 10 seconds is huge, right? But the fact that a single creature can randomly lose you that much time. And yeah, here I am, speedrunning this game. Kind of would like to see what would a game with Rainworld's movement and world look like if it was just focused on the movement side of things. A purely platforming game, but with very similar systems, because I think they would work out actually very well. What did I even hit? I think I hit the Vulture Grub. That spear. I just forget what to call those guys, because... I mean, usually I don't even need to call things by their names. But for the stream, I need to say what creature it is specifically, and... this doesn't feel like it's really any faster. The previous attempts. Wow, I only lost 10 seconds instead of 15. That's crazy. Oops. Forgot about this. Need to go up here. Got stuck on Gluttony. Rivulet barely cares about creatures. Oh, this is wonderful. These grapple worms have pretty much always been in a good spot for me, so that's the time loss that I haven't had before. So there goes the time that I saved of having a slightly faster wall split. And there goes the time even more. I'll just have to do everything else perfectly, I suppose. I always do that. I think I can just have enough speed there. Yeah, so in casual playthroughs, you don't really care about creatures. A lot of people finish a whole Rivulet run without killing anything. It's just that for a speedrun, just a lizard being in the wrong spot costs you so much. Oh, no, that's not even the case either. It's just for me. Maybe this is just my problem. Because I'm going for such an extreme goal. Everything really does need to be perfect. Now that you have to start every run like this. Part of me is kind of debating whether I should continue to attempt speedruns for this game at all. So I kind of feel like I have to some degree. Like, I'm probably capable of getting a sub 30 if I did enough attempts and actually practice some of the parts that I'm struggling with. I could probably get a sub 30, and I think it'd be great for the like speedrunning community as a whole to show that it's possible and kind of encourage others to do it too. But part of me doesn't want to encourage others to do it because speeding this game kind of sucks sometimes. And if I wanted to go to someone and recommend speedrunning this game, I would say don't go for these ridiculous times. Just like play the game with a specific route in mind, and just go for it. You know, you don't need to optimize everything. You don't need to restart at every small minor inconvenience. Just have fun. And maybe I've gotten to the point where it's no longer fun. I'm just like grinding. I feel like I have to do this now instead of wanting to do it. Maybe I should focus on a game that like actually encourages speedrunning. I mean, even then, the speedrunning community is like 10 people total. It's not that small. But there's like, Rain World is already such a small game. And the amount of people who want to like put in the effort to actually get good times is incredibly small. But even then, there's some good players out there. They're probably gonna get the times too if I don't. It doesn't help that this area is always lagging. Let's make some of these tricks a little bit more difficult. Also, I haven't even mentioned that the game likes to crash at the very end. A decent amount of my runs have ended because of the game crashing. So like, even if I get a good run, there's like a 50% chance that it just doesn't work out. That I can't actually finish it. Excuse me. Of course, now that there's a rock right there, should be perfect if I didn't have any items to throw a boost with. Out of all the creatures that could be here, I'm glad centipedes. They didn't even get in the way. like that sound. I think this might be the last run. Didn't even get past. I got into memory crypts once and died at the very start. That wasn't even RNG, that was just me being bad. Another thing is that these speedruns is kind of how I've been continuing to stream this game at all. Like outside of speedruns, I guess there's like mods, but I've pretty much just done everything else, right? There's only so much to do in this game, and speedruns is kind of like a way to replay it, right? Like, oh, I don't know what to do today, I guess I'll just do a speedrun, right? But if I just decide that I don't want to do speedruns anymore, then that's a lot less to do in this game, and I don't know, maybe that just means I'll have to spread out and look for other games to stream. And maybe I'll just do runs with the mod that removes creatures. So they won't be official speedruns. I won't be able to submit them as official times, but I'll just say, hey, this kind of speedrun is possible. Oh, that's unrealistic to say that not running into any creatures at all is a run that anyone could get. But I suppose it's saying like this is the kind of movement that you could get. I will still be checking out mods. I know that the friend mod that was updated, right? I'm probably gonna check that out if it does include a new character. I'll have to look into that. Now we're actually starting this run. It would also help a lot if this run didn't start with 2 minutes of karma caching. I'd probably be a lot more motivated to do a lot of attempts. Especially since some attempts just end immediately to the hands of scavengers. Or snails. He really had to be in the way the whole time there, huh? I think I'll go for Plink. Make up for the time lost in the first area. Okay, now I really have to do it. Really? Why is that eel lizard always been in that spot? And this guy now? That wasn't the worst. Things could have gone. I really have to be here. Well, say goodbye to this run. Or not. Somehow I kind of got launched back up there. I can't do this throw boost anymore. Monk actually feels the most realistic. Yeah, I mean, especially compared to Hunter, Artificer, Spearmaster, they just have just completely ridiculous spawns. But yeah, Monk, I imagine, is like, I don't really play them that often, but it's more calm. I mean, if you actually go out into like some random forest in the wild, like not much is really gonna be happening. Whereas some areas in Rain World are like completely filled with dangerous creatures, with apex predators. Like, for what reason? I mean, people complain about the difficulty of this game in the Survivors campaign, which I think is fine. Like, the difficulty of that is like perfectly balanced in the way that you need to like learn how to deal with creatures and like maneuver around the ecosystem. But then you get the Hunter and it's like, okay, does everything need to be 5 leap lizards in this room? Also, I don't know how I've not saved time on the wall split at all. Like, what did I do? That was so much better. That was 15 seconds faster than this. Like, I got one perfect run, and then I've never been able to replicate it since. Needs more prey creatures. That's what I've been saying. It's like creatures like egg bugs and noodle flies, like they're really fitting. They feel natural. They're just kind of wandering around, looking for food. Not when you have like multiple red lizards. That actually lined up perfectly. Oh great, they're not in a good spot anymore. Are you guys up here? I guess that's still not that bad. Okay, it's now this bad. Alright, that's gonna be the end of the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya.